Hey, what's up everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you in another video. Alright, so I figured I'd bump my gums. I talked to you guys about my psych eval. It was exhausting, but I think it was very rewarding. I like Dr. Aguilar, who I sat down with. He was solid as they come, so I had a good time. But you know, now that that's behind me, what am I looking forward to having? Of course, the results and maybe getting a diagnosis. My uncle sent me information that they had reached out to him from I guess the people who give me my benefits. It wasn't really clear on who all contacted him, but essentially they didn't have the right address for me or something. So, you know, the quest to continue to get my situation in order and hopefully find myself a new apartment soon is the next, I guess, big step for me. I've enjoyed being in the Studio Lodge Hotel for 2 years. It saved me out of just homelessness. Thank God that business stood and stands. But and I think it's time to kind of close the door on this chapter and kind of go forward and see what else the big man upstairs has for me. So I think that's the next major thing to kind of shift my focus toward is, you know, now that I've had the psych eval, try to kind of shift my attention to changing my address and getting a permanent address for myself. And trying to figure out where I want to live, getting away from just the cycle that I'm in. Every 3 weeks I got to go to the motel type thing. It served its purpose. It was necessary for a while, but I don't believe it's necessary anymore based on circumstances changing a little bit. And so now I got to find myself a place. And continue working on my mental health as well, of course. Continue working on my physical health, my art, continuing to progress there. That sort of thing is always on my mind. And, you know, continuing to connect with my sister. She's been giving me a lot of support on this front as well. Encouraging me to continue to do on my mental health journey. And it's really great, man. It's really great to have family support in your life when you're trying to better yourself, and people who understand what you're going through, people who have their own walk in that regard too. It's just dope that the Lord brought her into my life in this regard. And so, you know, I'm just very thankful that I was able to complete my task, you know, put forth the effort. That was something that Dr. Aguilar was talking about. It's something I've been praying about a lot. It's a word that's been coming my way, and it's effort. You may not always have the tools you need. You may not always have the energy to perform your best, but to give your best effort is, I think, what the big man upstairs is asking of us. He knows how tired we are. He knows how much we have to give. He knows, you know, where we are in our lives as it pertains to how much effort to expect from us. But to exceed your best attempt is ultimately, I think, the greatest goal in most, if not all, tasks. To give your best effort in all that you are trying to do. And in giving your best effort, the more that you attempt to give your best effort, the more likely you're going to find yourself strong enough to provide that same effort in different areas of your life. So that's why it's so important that we try our hardest, because as we continue to go forward with different things, it becomes easier and easier to give forth that effort. So that's the word of the day for me, is effort. And I thought I gave my day all of the effort I could give it. Yesterday I pushed forth a lot of effort as well, and going just about my day-to-day task. I was so fatigued yesterday, but I still climbed the hill, still did all of my shopping with the heavy backpack, still walked as I often do, and then still did my workout when I got home. I didn't know how I was going to do all that. When I got home I was so tired, but I still managed to push myself to give that best effort, and then proceeded to go about today, getting up early, etc. Effort. And that's really what it's about. We owe it to ourselves, and we owe it to others who don't have that privilege of being able to give their effort because they may have lost their lives or may not have their faculties or whatever. And so that's who I dedicate my best effort to, is not only God, but to those who aren't able to put forth the effort that they want to see for whatever reason or reasons. And that's what's up, man. I guess I'll segue into just continuing the conversation about Gaza. I haven't talked about Gaza in about a week, which is probably a record for me given the circumstance that we've been seeing for the last 2 years. I haven't done a whole lot of walking down the street having conversations lately. I've been doing less and less therapy sessions, but that's not by design. It's just happenstance. Didn't seem like it was the right thing for me when there was no power in my room to try to use up my battery making therapy sessions and stuff like that when I couldn't charge my phone. But all of that is straightened out at this point. So you can expect more content from me in that regard, no problem. But what I can really say, man, is they still haven't slowed down what they're doing. The last I heard was with the flotilla missions that, with all of those ships that they were bringing aid in regards to. From what I understand, they were threatening those people on those ships and attacking some of those ships. I don't think they've had any casualties on the flotilla missions as of yet, and hopefully they don't. But they've been hitting them with drone attacks and stuff like that. So keep your eyes on everybody who's trying to bring aid to Gaza, because they are definitely having their lives threatened right now. It's not minor at all what's going on in that situation. So yeah, keep your eyes open for that, and just understand that they're not letting up, man. Those people who are engaging in this are not letting up. They don't care about any shame or any boycotting affecting their pockets. They're on a holy mission to do this. And so when you consider that, you understand that this is not going to slow down. They're not going to get mentally or spiritually fatigued. There's never too many people that they've harmed. There's never going to be an end to this. And unless somebody stops them, unless an army literally stops them, and that's something that people really need to understand. But what I do find myself encouraged by is it's becoming more difficult for them to move around without having the shame come their way. It's getting more and more difficult to convince people to align with them as they continue to go about this mission. It's becoming less and less possible for them to continue to push a narrative that I often say has Swiss cheese all through it. It's becoming more and more difficult for them to push a narrative that doesn't have them being the bad guy in it. They can keep throwing October 7th at us. They've killed thousands more than that. October 7th, regardless if that was done by Hamas or not, they've killed thousands of more people, innocent people, children, than what was taking place on October 7th. Thousands more. So I don't know what they expect people to say when you sit up here in retaliation to what happened to you. You go off and try to annihilate an entire race of people, mostly children, and then lie about it and say that you're doing it because people are hiding behind those children. That's rubbish, man. It's absolute rubbish. And anybody that's been paying attention to this for 2 years understands that narrative is, you have to be not paying attention to any of this in order to actually buy that. And I know a lot of people aren't paying attention, but it's becoming harder and harder to avoid the people who have. It's becoming harder and harder to drown out our voices when there's so many people having spread the word and the footage of so many different instances during this genocide. It's getting harder and harder to back Israel. It's getting easier and easier to find people who are saying the same things I'm saying right now. And it's getting harder and harder to find people who are interested in continuing to push a narrative that Israel, this is something biblical, like what they're doing is somehow connected to the living God or Christianity or something. The Christianity that we know in our country, whether it be following the teachings of Jesus Christ or the white supremacy version of that religion, you got to understand that they don't follow that over there. In fact, they are opposite of that. They are opposite. They are literally interested in the antichrist, everything antichrist. When we talk about the antichrist, you think about some type of biblical monster that's supposed to be coming down, bringing forth terror, and different beasts with different heads and stuff like that. No. These people simply don't respect anything having to do with Christ. They look at him as if he is an idol that human beings are angering God for worshiping. So when you consider what the essence of being an antichrist actually is, it's simply as the word would describe, being anti-Christ. That's what the Zionist Jewish movement is. It's anti-Christ. It's against Christianity. It's against the idea that you're supposed to be worshiping Jesus Christ, following him, or even being kind to him. They have it in their minds that they are to kill, literally annihilate idol worshipers. And they look at Jesus Christ as an idol. So by way of your belief in Jesus Christ, you are effectively against these people. And that you don't know that in this country, or that they've somehow been able to warp all of our minds into thinking that we're in lockstep, that they're not illustrating that picture for you, speaks to the devilishness in these people, because they want to manipulate you. They want to take advantage of you by way of what it is they believe in. They think they're best for doing so. And so they're not going to just stand against you and say, yo, this is what we feel and this is what we think of you and this is what we're going to do. No, they're going to move like the devil moves, in deception. And so when you really break down their practices and the way that they operate, coupled with what it is that they believe in and what it is that they don't, you start to understand that they are the very essence of the devil and the people who follow the devil that we ultimately have been opposed to in our major Christian and Muslim and various religions. They embody fundamental beliefs that directly oppose those religions, that directly oppose the essence of what those religions are supposed to represent. And then furthermore, engage in the behavior that is best described when considering what the enemy is. Deception and lies, and trying to manipulate people into doing things that we consider sin for the sake of its own benefit and seeing us suffer, and monetary value that it can gain from watching us suffer. It engages in all the enemy's behaviors. So it's like, if you're not able to see that you're dealing with wickedness when considering the Zionist Israeli Jew, then you're not paying attention to any of the data that has been displayed to you. It's the deception, the lies, the agreed upon deception and lies, the agreed upon feeling as if they are better and above all of us, and they can do horrible things to all of us because of it. You got to know this. The things that they say in the Talmud about hurting children on purpose, sexually, giving themselves passes for having sex with 3-year-old kids. Like, you got to know that stuff is in that book, man. Every essence of what it is you consider to be evil in your major religions is essentially things that these people are proud of engaging in and proud of and teaching one another from birth. And the very essence of what it is that they say their enemies do, like teaching their kids to hate and all these different things, those are the things that they're actually doing. They say it's those people teaching their kids to hate. No, it's actually them. And furthermore, this speaks to the deception that they engage in, which is devilish, which is antichrist. They are at war with the Muslims. You realize, Christians, that these people are trying to kill Muslim people, right? So if you and the Muslims are supposed to be at odds with one another, and you are listening to me and you find what I'm saying to be true, how can you comfortably say that you're on the opposite ends of the Muslims, of the Muslim people? How can you effectively be certain that you are directly opposed to the Muslim people? when you look into the Muslim teachings, to my best knowledge, they are friendly with Christians. They're friendly with Jesus Christ. They're friendly with the understanding that we're supposed to stay away from the things that we believe we're not supposed to go anywhere near. It's the Zionist Jew that wants to kind of steer you toward those things that God calls sin. It's the Zionist Jew that wants to spit on you for believing in Jesus Christ, not the Muslim. The Muslim wants to be your friend, according to his teachings. But see, if you're going to blindly follow people who are talking and not actually do your own homework, then of course you will be in a position to believe lies. And that's the problem with what I see, is a lot of people aren't doing their own studying. They've effectively believed people that told them to stay away from people and didn't find themselves inquisitive about why, didn't find themselves inquisitive about the facts. They just trusted somebody. That's what's wrong with a lot of us. We just trust people that we have been told we should trust. And those people have been lying to us a lot the whole time. And so that's what I'm here to tell y'all. If the Muslim's supposed to be your enemy, your direct enemy, if he's the guy that you're supposed to be worried about, and the Jewish person's supposed to be your friend, then why, when you do homework on the Jewish person, they spitting on your people and trying to kill the Muslim people? Why is it that they are willing to lie to you about their intentions? And furthermore, throw you at all of their problems that they create by being intolerant of others, and furthermore wanting to take from people what ultimately they feel is theirs. Why would they need to lie and infiltrate your government if they're your best friend, America? Why would they need to blackmail and spy on your government, spy on your people to some exaggerated degree if y'all are really friends? Why do they need so much leverage in order to get you to do and move as they want you to move? Why would it even be necessary if y'all were inherently best buds? I mean, these are questions that America needs to start asking if you haven't already begun to. And the answer is because these are not your best buds. In fact, this is your enemy. And the enemy, just like in spiritual form, is going to engage in deception. The enemy's a liar. The devil's a liar. That's what they say, right? Well, when you see what the devil's people are doing, they're lying, engaging in deception, giving themselves passes for doing things they would never allow you to do to them. It's pinning people against one another. That's what, like, the writing's on the wall. It ain't difficult to tell. The question is, what side are you on? And when you come to realize what's been done to your head, are you ready to unlearn the nonsense that's put in place to keep you there? Keep you in that space? Because that's what I think I'm seeing a lot of people engaging in. It gets to a point where you have to ask yourself, do I trust any of the stuff that I've learned if all of it led to me believing that my enemy is my friend and that my friend is my enemy? How did I learn all of this? How did this get in my head? How do I find myself in a space where I not only believed that, but weren't doing any homework on the subject? To the point where I believed it so much that I wasn't even questioning anything, when it just so happened to not be true. And you got to ask yourself, if that stuff is in your head, how did it get there? And what else is in your head that has no business being there? That's what a lot of people are starting to understand right now. America is starting to wake up to the understanding that they've been had, that the propaganda that's been in their head to be on opposite sides of their own brother is no different than any other divide and conquer tactic, including that for which has been given to my people. And when we out here in these streets looking at each other as our biggest enemy, while we have a bigger enemy who wants to do to us what ultimately should not be done, or what have you. And that's just a microcosm of what's taking place in the broader American scale. The Democrat and Republican crap, that's what that is. When you line yourself up on one side or the next and think that you're right or wrong, you don't realize it's being stirred up. That whole thing is being stirred up. That whole thing is manipulated. That whole thing was dreamt up for the sake of manipulating people into being divided. That's what it was there for, from the beginning. Either or. without any nuance, but blind devotion. No, man, that's not even how this works. I line up on this side, I line up on that side. So I'm supposed to agree with everything going on either side? What kind of line of thinking is that for an intelligent human being, bro? I mean, let's just be honest. A lot of people in the company, they're doctors, they're lawyers, and scholars, people with sky-high IQs, but they've been able to effectively dumb down their intelligence in this regard. How in the hell are you lining up on either side? Why do you only see one side or another when it comes to something as broad as your political spectrum? Something as complex as ruling our nation, and we line up on one side or the next and follow all the talking points of one side or the next. We can't choose to be stupid in the areas most important. That's the problem. We choose to be to engage in the least amount of critical thought in the areas that require the most. Like your damn freedom and how your country is ultimately operating. Suddenly you're either or. It's just it's blatant stupidity, and I want people to understand how stupid it is going forward. I think the generation underneath me understands that. I think a good portion of them are going to throw that Democrat Republic crap in the toilet, guaranteed. They're going to throw it away. The boomers and the people that are over the age of 45, I'm telling you, y'all the last ones to buy into that. That's over with. Your kids won't, your grandkids won't. It's over for that. We see clearly we weren't raised with that nonsense. A good portion of them were not raised with that. They're going to be raised with this understanding. And believe me when I tell you, they're going to look at you guys as a bunch of fossils for even going along with that. Either side. Either side. Because a good portion of what it is that's been fed to you is performative, and to a lot of your children who weren't raised with that propaganda, it's really bad acting. It's really bad acting on both sides. Those who pretend to have humanitarian bones in their body when they don't care about any sort of genocide whatsoever, despite everybody like me sitting up here saying, yo, this is taking place. Those same people who say they pro this, pro that, pro this, pro that, every color in the book, pro-black, pro-gay, pro-everything else. But they don't give a damn about starving children who are being blown to bits. Yeah, that's what your kids are seeing. They're seeing the performance and then the results of their true intentions on full display. Ain't gonna be no more buying into that no more. Nobody's buying into that. Or those who say themselves to be people of Christ and patriots for Christ, but then the first thing they want to do is be jerks to everybody, deporting people, grandmas and stuff like that, telling rape victims that they can't use the tools best to keep themselves in a peaceful space, whatever that looks like. Gonna kick everybody out of the church, kick everybody out of the country that don't align with some fake mask that y'all bunch of wearing. You know, this is something I've said maybe once on this channel. I'm gonna say it again. How is it that every time there is a Republican convention, the Grindr app shuts down in that city? Grindr app, meaning the gay find a sex friend app, where all the gay folks can find people to shack up with for a night. How is it that that app always ends up getting overloaded in the city where the conservatives hover? I hate to tell y'all this, but a good portion of y'all are LGBTQ. Closeted. Though, closeted. Like a massive portion. The data shows everywhere y'all go. Y'all you overload the app. Everywhere y'all go. But the first thing that come out of y'all mouth is how y'all hate gay people, don't like trans people, want to say that these people are bad, these people bad, these people bad. And secretly, a good portion of y'all engage in homosexual behavior. I'm sick of the performative nature of so many people who are trying to line up on either side of the political spectrum. You guys are hypocrites. Okay, let's just be honest. Half of y'all don't align with nothing having to do with the values of Jesus Christ at all, or the values of humanity and freedom to live at all on your respective sides. Y'all want to act like a certain thing so that people will perceive you a certain way so you can fit in with one another as y'all all faking the funk. I'm over all of you. Y'all fake. You're liars. Some of the most staunch people who are against others actually represent those groups in the dark. I'm sick of that energy. Your kids are sick of that energy. Okay, let's just be honest. Y'all be the most raging homophobes, but also the people who are overloading the Grindr app, bro. At this point in time, we got to start telling the truth. Hypocrites on both sides, man. Hypocrites. On the other side, it's a bunch of people saying they love everybody, but are turning a blind eye to suffering children. Enough, man. Enough. Stop the performances. Stop all this pretending like you're something you're not. You're not none of that. Y'all not the greatest Christians, and y'all ain't the greatest lovers of life. Because when it really comes down to it, you prove yourselves to be hypocrites in the areas where you don't think anybody's looking. We see you. Be the first people saying we don't get with that gay stuff. Y'all doing all that gay stuff. Saying, oh, we love all these people and we pro them, we pro them, we pro them. And turn a blind eye to genocide. 2 years straight, people sitting up here telling you, stop sending money to Israel. The first thing y'all do is send money to Israel and then run back to the camera talking about, oh, we got to find the two-state solution. You send them all the money for the bombs. Stop the performances. That fake, phony-ass culture of y'all's is garbage. We sick of it. Your kids are sick of it. I'm just letting y'all know, your kids are tired of you. We're not fooled by the propaganda you were raised by. It looks like bad acting. The data is everywhere for us to see what y'all doing in the dark. We know you're not who you say you are. We know you don't care about nothing but yourselves and what it is you're trying to climb up to the top of. And your kids are going to cut it at the root regardless. So you might as well just jump off of that tree before it falls. That's what I'm going to say to each and every one of y'all. Liberals and conservatives. You're phony. And a lot of what it is that y'all believe is propaganda. A lot of what it is that y'all been fed are lies. Not even true. The foundation of them are riddled in hypocrisy and blackmail and all different types of stuff like it's not real. Somebody got to tell y'all. You don't even have the data to back up half of the stuff that y'all forcing. Trying to kick out all the people that you consider illegal. You can't even do business without these people. You're losing so much money, stepping all over your relationships in other countries because of how you're handling this process. You ain't even doing it right. You're losing billions of dollars trying to kick people out of your damn country. Stupid. Want to leave the world white and poor. That's exactly what y'all trying to do to your little country. Gonna kick out all the people who are gonna do the work that your ass can't do, won't choose to do, ain't built the machines to do it for you yet. None of that. But you want to kick out the people who are gonna do the work. And then be looking stupid in the face. When the results of what that racism and those actions behind that racism ultimately brings you. People who ain't never been around Spanish people talking about we need to kick them out of our country. Don't even know what happens when you do. Just being mean to people in the name of your religion that you don't even follow, that y'all don't even respect. It gets to a point where it's like, yo, man, your kids are tired of you. People like myself who've been paying attention are tired of you. Let's stop. For a change, can we just admit that a lot of what we got going on is bullshit? Can we admit it? Because that's what it is. What's up, man? How we doing?
Live right now?
Huh?
You live?
Nah, it's not live. I'm recording. But I'm telling these people what's going on, man. You take it easy, little homie. But his generation ain't having it. I'm telling y'all right now, his generation ain't gonna have it. Because there's gonna be too much evidence of the hypocrisy for someone like him to follow that nonsense. I say he's probably like 12, 11 years old right now. By the time he's my age, ain't gonna be no Democrat, Republic, nothing. Ain't none of that. That's a divide and conquer method that is ancient. Stone throwing, that's what that is. You're rubbing twigs together trying to make fire when you got a furnace right next to your ass. That's what that is. Let's grow up, America. That's what I'm trying to get y'all to do. Grow up, grow out, put down the hypocrisy. It's all going to be shown in the light any damn way. All this stuff that y'all pretending not to be, you do better just admitting that you are struggling with something and that you're going to try to be better instead of acting like it's not a problem, because a lot of y'all got big problems. And like I said, the data's in the cloud. All this legacy stuff y'all trying to, my legacy this, oh, my name this, that, and the third. Your kids, your grandkids, they're going to have access to some of your secret files. I'm telling y'all. I've been trying to prepare people for this for probably 2 years now. I've been saying this. A lot of this stuff y'all think y'all doing in the dark, it's going to be re-exposed, re-examined, and probably attached to your file and ancestry. When your people trace you, they're going to be able to see all your Google history. Like when we look back in the past and see our ancestors on Ancestry.com and find out who my grandfather and your grandfather is, they're going to look at us and see all of our porn history. They're going to look at us and see all of our Instagram history. They're going to look at us and see all of our Amazon history. It's all going to be there. It's going to be accessible. So while y'all sitting up here saying, I was this, I was that, I stood for this, I stood for that, the stuff that you didn't think would be seen is going to be right there. They're going to have AI and easy access apps and mechanisms that can sort through all of that stuff in the future. You remember what I'm saying to you? The stuff that y'all doing in the dark, the things y'all deleting that y'all don't want nobody to see, the stuff that directly opposes that mask you wear, it's going to be seen by everybody that you love and everybody that you're trying to raise right now. And someday, y'all going to look back at me and say, yeah, he was right. It was pointless for us to act like we were perfect. It was pointless for us to wear these masks. It was pointless for us to act like we were one thing when we were really something else. Because the data was right there. Bdf 44, I thank y'all for watching.